Smack.
What it do? Can you hear me?
Yeah, man, you
In the
sound
building.
good, man.
I'm in the building, man. What's up? What's
Yo,
happening? We done finally
Moke
did
and, Moke and friends, today is a very special episode. I have, in my opinion, is one of the Austin pod gods. You know what I'm saying? Like, cause I'm not gonna count Joe Rogan because he just came here. You know what I'm saying? Like you've been in Austin putting in
Nah,
work and
go
shit.
on and give Joe Rogan his props,
Come
man. Shit.
I mean, no, I
Credit to
give
him.
Joe Rogan his props, but he's not gonna be the Austin god of podcasts. To me, you are one of the founding fathers, I would say. And but how long you been podcasting? Let me ask you that real quick.
I've only been doing well. The first one I did was what 2018, I think it was. When the George Von Doom battle happened.
Okay,
Smacky the Clown podcast was the first podcast.
okay,
And then
okay,
came WOTP Radio, and then came Black Tea Talk.
okay. Well, I won't say founding fathers then, because I started podcasting in 2016, I think.
Yeah, so you
But
before me then.
but you are, I would say, a sort of like a motivation, I guess.
I'm gonna tell you what I think it is because I've heard this from two other people. I think what I brought to the game is I've always brought to the game is presentation.
Right,
I think that's what I kind of brought to it more. It's just a presentation feel. Like everything I do though is like a presentation.
right.
And so I think that made people look at it and get motivated and go, man, this is somebody I know they're doing this, so I want to set my stuff up and try to get motivated and do it. But plus, you always see me doing something new.
Right.
I'm always doing something new, so that's how you motivate.
Honestly, because when we had that little Zoom meeting with everybody else, I I always did my podcast audio, and then once we did that, that actually inspired me to start doing this because I remember y'all were talking about how to prepare shows, but for a live show, you know what I
Mhm.
mean? And mine was always pre-recorded, so I just said fuck it, that I'm just gonna do it like this because a
Save
couple
time.
people, yeah, and a couple people were like, no, I don't want to do face to face because of COVID and shit, you know,
Mhm.
and this everybody's just in their what is it, their comfortable environment,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? But I don't want to get into that yet, you know what I'm saying? Because even though there's a lot of shit I want to talk to you about, but
Let's
I'm gonna
go.
try.
I'm here, man. Take your time. I'm here. Let's
All
go.
right, we're gonna start off with this history of the dirty worms. Now the first time I only saw y'all once, and it was just by accident. It was a show, it might have been 2012, 2011, but it was at Republic Live. And I remember I saw Roy Jones was there, and y'all were there, and I caught the last of your set, but I think we just kind of briefly said was up to y'all and just kind of kept it moving. But I've always heard about you, but come to Black Tea Talk time is when I was like, okay, let me start finding out who Smackola is because you had the
Damn, that was a whole decade.
yeah, nigga, yeah.
It took you a decade to catch on. More than a decade. That was like 15 years.
Hey, but I'm not gonna lie though. I'm not gonna lie.
No,
I'm
no,
gonna
that's
keep it
but
100.
hey, but that makes it great because this is all good. It's great though. This is I like to hear this because it lets me know where I'm at too. It's not just
Right.
about me doing it and going, ooh, look at me. It's like I'm every
Yeah.
day I'm learning too. Every day I'm building. And this is a good blueprint. Conversations like this for
Yeah.
when I'm talking to other young artists because they might hear this and pick up on it. And then when I'm talking to
Right.
them, I'm going, look, man, I was doing this back then. So don't like we're kind of having this issue too. Like not to cut it off, but since we just we
No.
kind I start conversating with people, so
Man, come on, let's go,
it might
nigga.
turn around. Sometimes people think you're in competition with them, and it's like, no, dude. Like
Right.
I'm only in. I'm not even in competition with myself. I'm just trying to foresee my lineage out.
But who would think you're in competition? Because if you literally watch your podcast, you drop some gems. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah, no, no.
You
I'm just doing what I've always done behind the scenes when I'm having conversations with my friends.
right.
You see some of my friends on there, so you see how I still talk to them.
Right. Yeah.
So it ain't So when certain people think, "Oh man, Smack be talking shit all the time," it's like, dude, he talks like that with his friends. Like,
Right.
there's no difference, right?
But
It's
yeah.
even probably harder. I'm probably harder on my friends
Yeah.
only
Well,
because only because I want to keep that motivation going because I know what it was like for me and some of my other partners when we were first coming up. We didn't have nobody to really give us that
right. Yeah.
brotherly
Yeah.
coach brotherly father love.
Yeah.
'Cause,
Like
a
I
lot of
tell
us
you
didn't have
this,
that.
out of like when I started podcasting, I inspired other people to start podcasting, you know what I'm saying? And
There it
I'm always the
is.
type that I'll ask anybody to be on my show because it's sometimes it's not about what they're doing, it's about the conversation sometimes. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And a lot of niggas would want to come on mine but wouldn't want me on theirs. And you were
I go through
actually
that all the time. I go through
you
that
were
all the
one of the first people that talked to me and told me like what I need to get and what I need to do. And I'm usually the person telling people like the basic shit to start a podcast. But with the StreamYard, with the show prep, and the show prep was so crazy for this that probably 2 hours before the show, I'm chilling it right here, and my girl is here, and I was like, oh shit, I forgot this nigga was a rapper. You know what I'm saying? Like because I'm so invested into
into the
like
podcast part.
yeah, it's but
So
all go
so
ahead.
that goes back to this is what I'm saying. This is gonna be a real good interview. This is gonna be a good conversation that we're having. This is not
Yeah,
really an interview to me. So you met me back when we were doing Dirty Worms. You heard of the name.
right,
You never seen us.
right,
You've seen us
and I'm
probably around, but never really checked out what it is we do.
right, right,
Okay. So I always tell people 50% is letting people know you even exist.
okay, makes sense.
So that investment piece of you coming across it that many years ago.
Yeah,
Do you see where I'm going? Now
yeah,
imagine how
yeah,
many people
yeah,
I probably came across like that. So
right,
people ask me,
yeah,
"How are you doing it today?" I'm like, "Dude, I planted seeds that were like years ago." There's friends that I have right now, good friends, never seen me perform live
right,
ever.
right.
Like just have they just, and that's cool. But what I'm
Because they
saying
fuck
is,
with you as the person.
right, because there might be something else. I got a group of friends that are just into when we're doing the whole like we're talking about conspiracies and shit. They have no idea
Yeah,
what the fuck they just no concern, don't whatever, right? Then there's new people that know about the podcast.
yeah,
They know me through that. They don't know I do music or anything else. There's
hmm,
other people that have seen me shoot videos and stuff. They think that's what I do.
yeah,
Know nothing else. But one thing they all know is the brand.
right, yeah. True, that's true.
Yeah. So
So as how did that come about? Because I was and I always tell artists when I talk to artists because I don't use Spotify. I'm a title user. So I always tell niggas like, yo, have your shit on title. And so I looked up the Dirty Worms and I was listening to y'all shit. And then it dawned on me like, yo, you might be playing yourself. Like type in Smackola. And then I didn't realize you had music
yeah.
beyond the Dirty Worms.
Yeah. I came before the Dirty Worms.
Okay.
Um so yeah, the history of the Dirty Worms, man, that goes back. I gotta try to give you the fast version. Of course, I came up rapping and all that because I guess to give the history of Dirty Worms, I gotta give you my history. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Like, uh, came up rapping. I lived in the Philippines. Right before I moved to the Philippines, we were in California, and that's when I really started remember, like as a kid, like when I started seeing hip hop.
Yeah.
I started seeing little pieces. I seen people doing graffiti. Didn't quite know what they were doing because I was still young. Didn't know what they were quite doing over there, but that looked kind of cool. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Then I saw some dudes, the older kids, they were popping on the corner, and they had a boom box. I'm a kid. So I'm graduating from the big wheel with my
Yeah.
friends.
Yeah.
What are they doing? What's the big kids doing? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that's what I'm seeing them doing. So then by the time I go to the Philippines, um, I can tell they're like 8 months behind in what's actually happening.
Mm.
Even the breakdance moves they were doing were like they had never seen somebody do the windmill.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so it was like if
Damn.
you could do that, you was like the shit. It was like, oh
Yeah.
shit, this new kid came. I don't know what the fuck this is, and it was like me just
Were,
thinking
were,
back about
were
that.
you the windmill kid?
I could windmill, yeah. I mean, we all could windmill. That was like the basic. Now there was
I mean,
cats that could. Let me
but did
tell you
you
something.
bring
There
it to
was
the Philippines?
no, I didn't bring it to the Philippines. It was a collective because there was more than just one person coming to the Philippines. It was like
Right.
because we were Air Force brats.
Okay.
So there's kids coming from all over, and then I can't remember this dude's name. He was a um, Puerto Rican kid. I can't remember his name. And he came and he brought the windmill with no hands. See, there was one thing we were
Oh
doing it.
shit.
We were still doing our hands and doing it. It was still a cool
Yeah.
move. Then when he came, he was doing the and it was like so. Everybody that came, it kept elevating. Like every 3 months or something, somebody
Mm-hmm.
came and they were like, "Oh, he do it, but he could do it like this and go to his head." And it was
Yeah.
always a kid like, "Yeah, well over here we've been doing that." You got to remember, we're like 8 months behind of what's actually happening in the states.
But you was going back and forth though, right?
No, no. Well, I went. I was going to finish the story. So I
Oh, my
went
bad.
there. My mom was a singer in Tops and Blue in the Air Force, so she traveled around singing for the troops and all this stuff. And she trained pilots that flew the SR-71s. There was some kind of training thing they did. So I got to travel around as a kid.
Yeah.
Philippines is one we went to. We went to Korea, Japan, and the Philippines. But I'm bringing you up to where hip hop really started for me
Yeah.
seeping in and like, yeah, nigga, this what you gonna do for the rest of your life. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
And it was the golden era of hip hop too.
Yeah, it was the golden era of hip hop, but not knowing what that is. It was just something new. Like it was,
Yeah.
but for some reason the feeling it was different. It was like, yeah, this is what I'm gonna do. I don't know.
So I
It was
mean,
weird.
so hearing that in the Philippines, it had to be different because you were able to form your own opinion on it instead of like somebody being like, "Yo, here it is."
Well, it was all about teaching because there was no internet. There was
Right.
no you were actually meeting foreigners. We were meeting Filipinos that couldn't speak English, and they were
But new
already doing
words.
moves. They were doing moves,
Yeah.
and then some of them incorporated whatever what they were doing over there. Like they were into kung fu and shit, and like the kung fu movies were big back then.
Yeah.
So they were doing that. There was the BMX. We were riding BMX bicycles, doing freestyle ground tricks. That was what I was doing as a kid, and then looking at the rap hip hop stuff, the graffiti. I tried to do the graffiti. I sucked. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like I scribbles, nothing. I was good at breakdancing.
Mm.
And then I wanted to be a DJ because once I saw Jam Master Jay on Crush Groove,
Mm-hmm.
I said, that's me right there. I can do
Yeah.
BMX tricks and I'll be the DJ.
Wait.
Little rap crew. Shout out to my man Glenn Floho that was out there from the Mad Jammers, all them, Cuber, all those guys. Man, just back in the days, it was crazy just to even see what they became over the years because we was kids back then.
Right.
And
I mean, did they all come up in music, or were you just the only
yeah,
one?
everybody came up with music that was doing music back then. We was kids, and we were living in the Philippines. So you got to imagine, I'm living in the Philippines now. When I come back to the states, I'm still a kid. Now I'm like starting to get into my teens, right?
Yeah.
And you don't really think you're going to see these people again. I mean, you're kind of
Right.
just moving. You know, in the military, you're always moving around, and then you start running into them again. So a lot of these guys would show up to our shows, which was cool. Glenn showed up to one of my shows, and it was so cool because this is the guy that taught me how to scratch.
Mm.
He was always scratching. You walk by Glenn's house, and he was always you just hear all kind of shit. You know, all the breakdance music. He had all the late. He was a DJ, and he was from a coalition of DJs back then. And when I always think back about that, I'm like, wow, he was a part of something like that way before that concept was even.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Um, so he taught me how to scratch and all that, and he would even let me borrow his turntables. You know how crazy that is?
Yeah. For a DJ to lend a nigga his turntable,
Yeah,
especially for practice.
yeah. But I think his dad was. I think they kind of they weren't poor. He was Filipino, but he was not poor. His family had it going on.
Yeah.
They had it going on
He.
anyway. But he would let me do that, borrow records, and we would do like the little dances and stuff. Because after I did the like break dancing and stuff, then I started looking at who was making the break dancers do it, and I started thinking like, man, the DJ need to drop Planet Rock right now because this
Yeah.
gonna be their ass. You know what I mean? So I'm doing that, but I'm also again, my mom's a performer. So I'm going back and forth. Like when she got to go to work or go do one of these shows, I'm there. I'm like in the
You're
back,
right.
my Star Wars men, fucking fighting on the goddamn mixing board and shit. You know what I mean? In the
Yeah.
back, and they're like, "Hey man, you can't be up here." But it looked like the Death Star. I don't know. To me as a kid, that's what it
Right.
looked like with all
Yeah.
those faders and shit. I would take my X-wing and be flying through the faders. I don't know, but so I seen show after show after show. Plus, being a Michael Jackson fan, being a James Brown fan, just watching shows and watching presentation and how
Mm.
what it took. The curtain man, all right, they counted down 1, 2, 3, light.
Yeah.
All right, curtain pull back. Duh, 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 duh. And I would be seeing this as kids. So subconsciously, I think I just grew up like going, yeah, it has to be like this. You know what I mean?
Right.
This is what's
Yeah.
gonna. I understood the science behind people looking at a show and you doing that and it being like, oh wow, because the presentation rollout is everything. You see, car companies do it all the time. When they do the car, they bring everybody got a drink, da, 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 and then
Yeah.
they snatch back the little curtain or whatever they do off the car, and everybody goes, oh, and there's the intro, and then the
Right.
car drives
Yeah.
forward or whatever. You know what I mean? Anyway, so that's where I really got my hip hop venom at was in the
Mm.
Philippines. So I was always in like little crews, and there was these other guys. They could rap. They were really good. But when it came to getting on that stage, it was like
Yeah.
like you know what I mean. Like no, y'all gotta like But
They had no stage presence.
yeah, when we be like just hanging out, outside because we was outside kids back then. You were always
Right.
outside, and we were rapping. It was just the hardest thing going. It was like, damn, these dudes are just they're raw. They were raw. You know what I mean? I'm like, man, I'm gonna be the DJ. And these are older kids. They're letting me kind of be the DJ
Yeah.
because they're like, oh, this little young dude, he can he can get down a little bit. That's cool. Plus, he a little kid. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Back then, that was the deal. Like you either had a
Right.
little kid doing something in your group that
Yeah.
gave you
Yeah.
the edge, or it was a girl. Well,
Yeah.
if you had a dog that could rap, I guess they do that too.
Nigga.
You know what I'm saying? But so I'm just giving you the time essence of the
Yeah.
time, like, because you see it all the time. You see dance crews battle each other, and if a little kid come out and start
Yeah.
getting
Yeah.
off, it's like,
It's a
oh,
rap. It's a
so
rap.
okay, so
Yeah.
I was that kid. I was that
Okay.
kid. And then I'd ride off doing tricks on my bike, and they'd be all like, "This dude's like into skateboards and BMX and free."
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? And I already had my look. I always wore like a little do rag with glasses and the cut off sleeve shirt,
Mm.
the cut off sleeve black shirt. So as you see me still perform today in that's where that comes from. That
Okay.
comes from that was
Damn.
my first like, this is me.
Damn.
So so
Okay.
I so I hold that. That's a part of me. That's like a sponge that I go, I'm taking that part of me. That's that passion of me. So when I do that and I look at myself and I see that, it reminds me of like, yeah, I'm I'm I'm
Do,
a warrior. Like like I've been touching stages. I've
do
been
do
doing it.
do you think you would have that same outcome if you was in a crew full of people your age, or do you think it was like you
Yeah,
had the old heads?
because no, yeah, because I was always in different crews. Even this
Okay.
is just when it first started for me.
Right. Okay.
I'm a kid, like literally. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So then what I started doing was they really couldn't, and it would always be about the okay, when you stop the rap right there, count in your head 1, 2, 3 to the next line you hit, and then I'm gonna drop the beat.
Yeah.
And a lot of them
Okay.
just didn't get it. They were like, "No, why don't we stop?" And I'm like, "No, man. Once the music going, you gotta have it. It's a show you're putting on.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're not on the corner no more. We have to put on things. Hey, man, untie your shoe and do some shit in the middle of the
Yeah.
thing. And they're
Yeah.
like, "Oh man, stupid. I just want to rap." I'm like, "Yeah, but you're doing a show now." And I understood this as a kid, but I was watching my mom and them from Tops and Blues do little
Mm.
things.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm watching the military guys come out with the rifles.
So yeah, you already seeing this shit done at a discipline and a professional level.
Yeah, but not really looking at like, "Oh, that's dope." I didn't really get
Right.
that until
Yeah.
later.
But
You know what I
just
mean?
that's how it should be.
hmm
Yeah.
Because I would see it from the front, and every time it would be like, "Wow!" And then I've seen it from the back, and
Hmm.
that's why everybody's so obsessed with backstage. But I always thought people were obsessed with backstage because you wanted to see the production that happens, how it
Right.
all comes together. Oh, you just want to hang out and be like, "Oh
Yeah.
man,
You just want to watch the nigga from the back of him.
So in my day, hanging out backstage was that part.
Yeah.
You wanted like if some of the DJs would come over, you would want to hang backstage, not because you're necessarily hanging out with them, but
Hmm.
because you're trying to see what it is they're doing, like how that feels like, because you look at stars on stage and you sometimes think like, man, I wonder how they feel.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then when you go now look at it through the lens of how they're seeing it, you kind of go, oh, it looks much better from the front.
Right.
Like,
Of
you know what I
course.
mean?
Yeah.
Because you start to realize it's two different worlds still. Like now
Yeah.
you're in your world. So I tell people when you're on stage, dress your stage up to be your world. And they're
Yeah.
watching you. Here's some game. Imagine people are like right now, you're looking into the screen where I'm at.
Hmm.
So I'm gonna make my own little world. No matter what it is, just little subtle things. It just has to be little
Yeah.
something subtle. When you do a show on stage, you put things on stage to but bring parts of you, and that's the easiest part you could do, and it creates the art for you without you having to think about what is it that I can do that's dope. So what I started doing
Yeah.
was I'm not even gonna think that hard. I'm just incorporate myself in it. I always wore black, riding BMX bikes, cut off shirts, had the do rag. I didn't never have waves. I just liked the way the do rag looked because it actually kept the sweat out my eyes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And just I don't know. For some reason, I just like looking like a biker bandit pirate or something. I don't know what that was about, but but I just kept that part, and then you bring in little things. I'm a fan of Michael Jackson. I used to have the Michael Jackson glove, but okay, I'm gonna make mine the black glove, but it's the OJ glove. Like you, like so all these things you start marketing anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah, in the Philippines, that's where I kind of got it. Came over to back to California and started getting back into I was still breakdancing and doing all that too, but now I'm starting to get more into the rapping side. Even more.
Hmm.
I was already rapping in the Philippines too, but since I was trying to do the DJ thing, I was kind of back and forth. Like I could do both, but really I want to do the DJ thing.
Right.
And so I guess oh shout out to my rap partner, J Love, Jermaine Monroe, one of the dopest artists. He was a older guy, or older kid in the school, and so when I met up with him, we would always after school we just
Yeah.
rapping. 'Cause, I didn't have money to buy no DJ equipment or nothing like that, and I wasn't around Glenn and them no more, so I couldn't use they shit.
Right.
So now I'm at the age of where you're trying to buy clothes and impress the ladies or whatever,
Mm.
or you're taking a girl out on a date. But then the whole thing of man, but those turntables are getting farther and farther
Yeah.
away,
Yeah.
and
So now
because
you got to make a choice.
well, because I'm around certain friends that they like to go do stuff, so we're doing things, and
Right.
that was
You
cool.
spending bread.
That was cool, but my bread is going out doing
Hmm.
that, and then so later I started to realize like, yo, everything I got to start going towards what I'm trying to do because
Right.
if I and I always think about that like because if I had vested in turntables back then, I could have always had that. So
Hmm.
my mind has always still been like that to this day. So then when
Yeah.
I did start getting money and being able to do it, I would instead of trying to buy things to impress people, I would go buy the tools I need.
Right.
Let me buy that light.
Yeah.
Let me buy that fucking keyboard. Let me get that studio, those speakers. And my whole idea was that way, if anyone ever tried to shut me down, I could do my full presentation because I have the tools to do it. I could
Right.
put on a production. I could do.
And
That's how I
see,
always looked at it.
that's crazy because I don't know how old you are, but I'm 34. And when I was like in my 20s and started rapping, I didn't do shit. All I did was just bought my own studio shit. I became my own engineer, and I did all that and had money for weed, and I didn't need shit else. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
So I think that's dope because nowadays a lot of niggas be out, but they don't have the
Yeah, and when I talk to artists, that's what I try to tell them to do. I'm like, dude, just and anybody's ever had a conversation with tell me, the first thing I tell them is, dude, you got to tell your girl you can't take her to the movies.
yo, worse than that. No, no, I have yet to hear like a lot of music during this whole pandemic. Like if I was still rapping, nigga, I would have had at least 4 albums out by now.
You could, but here's a reason of that. I don't think that's a good idea
All right,
because once people can get past this moment, they're trying to forget about this moment.
right.
This is a dark time in history for whoever's living now. Like this is like when the quarantine hit and shut everything down. It showed people like, yeah, oh, I thought you was free. Oh, you're not as free as you thought you was. What are
Well,
you free? What are you free to? Free to do what? Be in your house and you're unhappy about that. Like, cause it feels like now you in a prison or something, right? So it makes you
yeah,
start to think about things like, man, so this goes back to what I'm saying. I'm investing in certain things to where if we could go right now tomorrow and set up at a little cafe, a parking lot, whatever, and do our own concert.
yeah,
You know, because
right,
for me, it's different. I've never, ever, ever been motivated by the money. Spent a whole lot of money to get things,
yeah,
but I never been motivated like that by it. And it's
right,
never because I would always say, you've seen in plenty of interviews. I said, yo, if they told me you could never get paid doing this, would you still do it? Yeah, it would be my hobby. It'd be like how you probably go to a bar and drink. I would
yeah,
go out here and set a show up on the corner and do it, and y'all would be like, yo, that was cool. But I would be like, yeah, that's my thing. Oh, you're going
yeah,
bowling? That's cool. Yeah,
yeah. Okay.
you go bowling. Yeah, you go do that.
All right. Now
I'm going to put on a fucking, you know what I'm saying?
let's
So
go,
so back in high school, Jermaine Monroe, we'd rap and all that. So he helped build my confidence more as a rapper now because he's looking at
yeah,
me like, yo, you snapping, you got a different style. Like your shit's on
yeah,
some. So I was still trying to find myself though, because I was so much wrapped up into wanting to do the DJ thing and hearing so many different rap records. I was like, fuck, I don't want to sound like this person, this person. I got to find my own lane. So that took a little while to do.
yeah.
And then finally I found that. And then
Wait,
shout out to
but let's not gloss over that because your lane isn't the typical lane that a regular rapper would think.
okay,
Like,
explain that. What does that mean?
no,
You made it sound like
because
okay. You made it sound like nigga, you ain't that dope. No, I'm just joking. I'm
no,
just
no, 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 because now, mind you, the first thing I heard was Dirty Worms.
yeah.
Okay, so the first thing I heard was Dirty Worms. So that's my first perception, and then I went back and realized that Smackola is a artist himself
A
too.
part of it, yeah.
So the first perception I heard of you was the rap rock.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And
Mm-hmm.
then I went back and I heard like your older shit, and I was like, okay, like I heard the hip hop feel.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I'm gonna
So
get to that. I'm gonna get to that.
okay,
Um, so let me try to fast forward. I just want to give everybody their props. When I tell stories, I never know if
oh
it's my
yeah, do it,
last
man, do
time.
you?
So I just like to give the people that inspired me to. I want to make sure I'm naming certain key people in the game. So the history, it'll be in the history books and the records. So yeah, Jermaine Monroe, he built my confidence. So me and him had a group called the Gangsta 2 Productions.
Mm,
That's what we called ourselves because at the time NWA was out. So anything that had a gangster name or whatever, that was the cool. But we weren't really gangsters. We was like,
yeah,
but we was saying like what we're doing is gangster. It's like, ugh. So we were already on that because we were,
yeah,
you know, he was a hip hop head, I was a hip hop head. So we took the concept and kind of flipped it and said, yeah, but we're murdering you with the shit we're saying, not
right, yeah,
actually talking about we're out here shooting you up. And even back then, my raps were very political and conspiracy raps.
mm-hmm.
If you listen to the beginning of the Thomas Brooks project, there's a little clip that starts that album off that he found on his recorder when we were back in high school, and it has us rapping, and then my mom busts in, she's singing. Really key right there, and you can hear me rapping, and you can hear what I'm talking about, the government coming after us, blah blah
yeah,
blah, all this stuff. So I still held on to that. That's Dirty Worms. That's a long lineage. You see where I'm going with this? I'm pulling
mm-hmm.
all these different parts of
I'm
me
following.
that I
I'm
was
following.
finding.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, we had Gangs 2 Productions, and we were gonna make a record. We never got a chance to make a record, so that's still on my bucket list to do.
Hey, well, let me ask you this. Back in those days, why were people putting productions on the end? Like you had like Boogie Down Productions. Like
Because
what?
it's the
Because you were
same
doing it all.
it's the same you see as today almost.
Mm,
It's a production. Boogie Down Production wasn't just KRS was like the face, but there was
right.
other people involved, so it was a whole production,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And
Okay.
also, so when other people started calling Daz because they obviously saw that he was successful.
Yeah. So you just calling it
So
what it
then,
is.
so yeah, because then you knew that if you said something production in your name, people would pay more attention. It was like a trigger
Right.
word. Like, oh,
Facts.
gangster this. Oh, the gangster shit is what's
Yeah.
happening right now. Now it's what is it? the drip, whatever, the fucking, it's
Yeah.
lit. It's
Drip
fucking,
down production.
yeah, like, oh, so you're starting to see all that a lot, right?
Yeah.
When Travis Scott had that song, The Upper Echelon, you start seeing that word thrown around a whole lot. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? People were using it in
I ain't never heard
this.
of that word till that nigga just dropped that song.
Damn, man.
I know.
so so that's what we had, Gangsta 2 Productions. We were supposed to record a record. My mom was gonna pay for it, but the studio we went to, it we always seen it. We'd walk by it after school and be like, man, there's a studio right there. But
Mhm.
so my mom was gonna pay for it. We finally get to the studio and the studio was shut down. It was like closed or whatever. And it was like a
Damn.
country music studio. They didn't
Mm.
specialize in no hip hop.
Yeah.
So anyway, then of course we're kids and we're growing now. So he went off to the military and all that, and then eventually I moved. I went to Atlanta
Mhm.
because my mom and them are from Georgia. So I went to Atlanta, started rapping with cats. Da 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 da. That's where I met Lil Jon. He was in a McDonald's line. Like that's the first time you know what I mean. Seeing, oh, you're DJ. Oh, okay. Then from there, had a little stint in Atlanta. Went to Alabama, Montgomery, Alabama. And
Mm.
in Montgomery, Alabama, I met up with two cats, um, Damage and Effects. You know what I mean? I actually gave them their names. They had some weird names. Like they were on some LL Cool J shit. They were like,
Yeah.
they were too LL'd out. And I'm like, no. So I was watching them rap and I said, you're gonna be Damage, you're gonna be Effects. And they came with they were called Underrated.
Mm.
I was the DOG still at the time now because now I dropped the DJ. I'm just the DOG. But now Snoop Dogg's out of time, so it's all like this kind of like, man, I don't want to give up on the name, but da 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 da.
Right.
So damn, I call them Damage and Effects because the names they had were not whatever. And it was cool. They put out a single. We did all that. Pick up the pace productions. We got our first introduction into going to do shows, and we were killing them.
Mm.
But I was still in the background. I was still kind of coordinating. I was like a puff daddy of like coordinating them.
Yeah.
Like, hey man, on this part, we need the beat to drop here. Da, da, da. And my man
So
Diz,
you wasn't writing no bars at the
no,
time.
I was because I had my own stuff. But when I went there, it was like I
It
switched into
was for
more of a
them.
mode of trying to help them do it because I'm looking at
Yeah.
it like here's my chance to try to jump back in the DJ thing,
Okay. Okay.
right? Or in the production side of it because I was really into that, like how it looked
Hey,
and
that's pretty good ulterior motives.
yeah,
Yeah,
it
that's not
actually is.
that's
Yeah,
dope.
I mean, but that's where my passion was. So what you
Right.
see me doing now, this isn't something I started doing. This was something I was doing back then. Even with Gangster 2 Productions, we had merch.
Mm.
We had our names with our hats on it and talking about expanding it, but it just never got to that point. We were kids.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
But we had the hats, we had the shirts. I've always had
Yeah.
a hat or something with my name on it or something going on. Always. Um, so when I look back at stuff like that, that shows me like, oh, I've come a long way because I was starting that back then. I just didn't have the capital, I didn't have the whatever, but at least I had that one hat.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I just always kept doing it. I always had to make sure, nah, man, I gotta go get this hat, man. It's gotta be this because that was a way to promote myself.
Yeah.
Um, so let's fast forward. So Underrated, hook up with them. Couple other guys, Too Much Flavor, shout out to them. Um, the rival rap group was the group called the Roughnecks was our rival, kind of not really a rival, but like what would be considered back then, like our friends back then were like, man, you need to go up against the Roughnecks, and they
Yeah.
same shit you see here happening in ATX. These niggas hating and doing weird shit, right? So, um, and shout out to Rick Rock. Rick Rock was the rapper, and he was one of the rappers in the Roughnecks. It was three of them with Baby too. He was in there, and it was great just to see years later him blow up, do a beat for Tupac, and then
Yeah.
become
Oh, you talking about
The Fade.
Oh, you talking about Rick
Yeah, I'm
Ross?
talking about,
Okay.
yeah, Rick Rock. Yeah,
Damn, that's what's up.
yeah, yeah. So he was in the rival crew, and that was in Montgomery, Alabama. So learned a lot
Damn.
there too. And my man Diz, who was living back in California, he would start sending us beats so that I could give the Underrated, so that we could try to get all this happening. So eventually, we're doing shows, blah blah blah. Then we get our first taste of when a label just drops you or whatever. So
Yeah.
they took that so much to heart that it killed their motivation. It like
Right.
totally
Yeah.
just like And I used to try to keep them like pump them up. I would be that coach. Come on, man, we gotta stick in the game. Fuck it, we
Yeah.
can't let this be the woo 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 woo. You know what I mean? But they also had a support system that was not supporting them.
Mm.
And really none of us did at that time because people are like, "What the fuck y'all think y'all doing?" You know what I mean? They were like, their parents are like, "Man, you gonna go to school? Fuck with whatever that bullshit
Yeah.
y'all doing." You know, you go to, they pushing them to go to school, but they didn't
Hmm.
want to go to school. They want to rap. Da, 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 da.
And
So
so
what?
it was probably like one of them things that the label drops you, and then it's like, see, it didn't work out, so go do something else.
Right, but you never even understood how big it was or what you were actually doing until it was
Right.
over.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Yeah.
when you were in it, you knew that you were doing things, you were doing shows. You know, people are like, "Yeah," but you never knew the impact till you're running into people, and they're like, "Oh."
Hmm.
So that was my first real stint at having that moment. It didn't start with me or Dirty Worms. That was way back then. We were doing that. So
Yeah.
and even being around with Too Much Flavor, I would jump in with them, and I was more of a. They already had all the rappers, they had everybody, but I was so cool and shout out to Kevin. He was like my little brother.
Yeah.
He just looked up to me. You know what I mean? So I would tell them like, "Yeah, man, do it like this, boom." So I was just more of that. I was doing the Puff Daddy thing. Yeah, man. Hey,
Yeah.
man, wear this jacket. No, don't put that. So I was jumping in that mode, and that's why I say our rivals were the Roughnecks, but it wasn't like I was battling Rick and
Right.
them. It was
Yeah.
like Too Much Flavor. See what
Yeah.
I'm saying? All right. So fast forward. I'm trying to just make sure I'm painting you the picture to bring it up to this moment. Um, so after that, like I said, they got discouraged because when the shit went to shit, they just I don't know, man. It just made them like fuck this, da da da. One went to Alabama State, the other one started going to one of these trade job schools or something. So I had made a promise to my mom that if we didn't have it cracking, I was going to join the military. So part of them canceling was like, fuck.
Yeah. You
Now
gotta go.
I gotta hold up my end of the bargain. I didn't really want to go, and then my mom tried to talk me up, and she said, "Well, maybe just go to Alabama State or something, and do something else." And I said, "Nah," because I really felt myself at that time like I needed to. I just wanted to hold my word,
Hmm.
and I figured I could get in the military, get some money, and then I'll have the money to record
Right.
and buy a keyboard and do all this stuff. And I just got to go in the military and act like I'm GI Joe, like a motherfucker. So
Hmm.
anyway, I go in there, do a stint in the military, in the army, and that's what brought me to Fort Hood.
Yeah.
Came to Fort Hood. I started coming to Austin on the weekends. Shout out to DJ Casanova. DJ Casanova, everybody kept talking about DJ Casanova, DJ Casanova. And on a whim, somehow, I think I met Teddy Lee, and Teddy Lee brought me to Casanova. I think that's how it kind of went.
Hmm.
So I went to Casanova, started recording over there, but I was still trying to get my homies on because I was in the military. So now Underrated is coming to Austin. Now they've
Yeah.
decided to get back together, and we're all hyped. We're like, "Yeah, man, I'm in the military, man. Man, I found this producer out here in Texas." Boom, they're coming to Texas. So that was big because that's their first plane trip. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
You gotta understand the time and
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
so they come, they record a song. Then my friend Sarabian, rest in peace, Sarabian, I had met her in Alabama, and she was a white girl rapper.
Mm.
So she was basically what's her name? What's the white girl rapper
Iggy
name? Iggy
Azalea.
Azalea. She was that. She was her before there
But
was that.
but
Okay.
but so she wasn't good.
No, she was good. She was like
Oh,
but the
because
whole
Iggy Azalea's
Barbie
not
doll,
good.
but she was doing the whole Barbie doll.
Yeah.
I'm a hard rapper,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
But
And it was
but
kind of
I'm
like
fine.
it was kind of like we ain't black people ain't ready for that shit yet.
Yeah. And
Like,
she was in Alabama too.
yeah, I met her in Alabama at a club. I can't remember this DJ's name, but he was so cool. Whatever your name is, if you're watching this, man, my bad. He used to play a lot of our white label records that
Mhm.
because Diz and them, my friend Diz and Roger, they were still making records back in California. So
Yeah.
now they got to the point. So when they would send me stuff. I say, man, down here in the South though, it's about the clubs.
Yeah.
In
Yeah.
Cali, it wasn't about the clubs. Cali was more parking lot pimping, and we
Right.
outside
Right.
burning
Yeah.
rubber and blah blah blah. So I'm like, dog, send me a record. So anyway, so there's a lot of like I said, there's a lot of little things I'm leaving out. Um, Also, shout out to Cedric Singleton from Black Market Records. I was a street teamer kid for him when they were promoting X Rated, Brother Lynch Hung, and all the groups from Black Market. And then we come back to that in a minute. Uh, where am I at now? So we're in the military. Underrated's coming. Sarabian's recording at Casanova's, and then I meet a guy named Lamar Kool Aid, and they were dope producers too. So then I
Mm.
started going over to their studio, and I would keep coming up on the weekends from Fort Hood. So finally, um, we would always be recording and shit, but we would be bullshitting, man. Like they
Yeah.
just have all kind of strippers over. Well, we all had all kind of strippers over there, and but me truly was really trying to do music, but I would get sidetracked with them too because they were just everybody was cool, man. And
Yeah.
we were cool.
Right. Yeah. So it's
Everybody
just
was
kicking it.
talented. Yeah, so we're kicking it and we're not really separating the hey, there's a time to kick it. But I understood that. But it was always me trying to get them to understand that and it was like
Right.
frustrating. So eventually I now get stationed in Cuba. So I had to go do a little stint in Cuba. So then it was like, damn. So I left, went to Cuba, did a 6 month, 8 month stay over there, came back. And but while I was in Cuba, shout out to Jayton. He was in the Navy and they had this program where they came and asked me one day, hey man, you want to go on the boat and try to rescue some of the refugees trying to swim? I'm like, all right, fuck it, you know what I mean? Go out. I mean, we're way out in the middle of the ocean on them little rafts, and everywhere you look, it's just water. It's
Yeah.
like, and then they would go right over there, blah 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 blah, such and such, whatever coordinates, right? I'm like, what the fuck y'all see? I don't see shit out here, and it's bright. It's just blue water everywhere.
Yeah.
And we pull up on some people, and they're literally in the ocean. We're like,
Why?
damn, like they're because they're trying to swim to America,
Oh, so do
start a
y'all
new
take
life.
him? Y'all just take him
So
back to
we would
Cuba?
go pull them out the water, go save them, basically.
I know, but where
And
y'all take him after that?
oh, we take them back to Guantanamo Bay.
Ah, damn, that
Yeah, they
sucks.
because they were already on their way to America, but they got tired of waiting for the
Oh,
process
okay.
of being able to go to the States. It was still like a year process or 2 years. Like
But
some of
isn't
them,
Guantanamo Bay a jail?
basically, it's a refugee camp, but
Oh, okay.
it's a naval base that also houses. It has a
Okay.
huge refugee camp. That's where they keep them. So and the reason I went over there is because some shit jumped off over there, so they thought it was about to be a thing. So it was like, here we go.
Yeah.
I was coming home from the club down there in Killeen, from City Lights. And I remember leaving, going to City Lights, and they're like, Chapman, you got to get in here and get ready. We're going to Cuba at 0700, some shit, right? And I'm like, whatever. We ain't nothing happening. I go to club, come back, the whole damn battalion is standing out there. Fucking, I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like, motherfucker, get up, get your shit, get on this bus. They flying y'all out to Cuba. I'm like, oh man, my rap dream's gone again. I'm like, fuck.
Damn.
Right.
Yeah.
So we go over there anyway. So we're rescuing people out the water, and that's what inspired me too. I'm just giving the short version. And there was these Cuban dudes, man, and just seeing the passion in their eyes if they really believed they were about to swim to America and become
Yeah.
baseball stars. And one of the
Which is
interpreters
possible
said,
for Cubans.
no, yeah, yeah. But one of the interpreters said, but what if that doesn't happen? They said it doesn't matter. It's worth it because if I'm not gonna at least go and try, then what am I even
Yeah.
doing right now?
Right.
Like I'll
Oh,
be happy that I just tried, even though if
and
it
that
don't
clicked in
happen,
your
I'm gonna always
head.
keep trying. That clicked.
Yeah.
Boom! I come back. I find out I have a son. I'm dealing with that. I'm going through the whole. All right, man. Now my rap shit is getting further and further away. It's all getting further away because now it's like, come back. Oh, you got a son. Like, oh, okay, I gotta be a daddy. I'm not ready to be a daddy. What the
Yeah.
fuck does a daddy do? I ain't had a daddy, so I'm just like, oh man. Before you know it, I'm talking to my baby's mother and everything. I'm like, all right, well, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna stay in the military, and I'm just gonna marry you, and we're gonna do this because there's benefits, right?
Right.
He ends up passing away from SIDS. He was like 6 months old, so he passes
Mm.
away. She calls me, he's gone. the Red Cross is at my door and the barracks. They're all telling me, and I'm just like, oh man. So my shit was just going down fast. It was just
Yeah.
everything seemed like, man, I just don't know what's gonna be. But where I felt guilty was when I would come to Austin to be in the studio, I would go visit him after I was done in the studio. So I was sacrificing even that time to be
Yeah.
with my son to try to come in the studio, get it done, and we would always end up somehow bullshitting.
Yeah.
Then I go see the baby mom and him on Sunday, and then 2, 3 that morning, I had to get up, drive back to Killeen. You know what I'm saying, and to be at work.
Hmm.
So just imagine 6 months going just shooting by, and then all of a sudden,
Right.
hey,
Yeah.
he's gone. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, you know what I mean? So I went through that. My first child, son, died. So then, and I used to call him my little dirty worm.
Hmm.
Okay, so then that always stuck with me. Um, so I go through that whole process. We bury him, all that. Me and the mother try to stay together, but it's probably just too painful. When she looked at me all the time, it was just real weird. You know what I mean? It was just
Yeah.
always, I don't know. It was, she never been through something like that before, and I definitely never been through nothing like that before. So it was just very, but we're still good friends today, so that's good. Um, so I carried that with me, and now I said, okay, I've been bullshitting trying to get this music done. I have no choice now but to make this shit happen. My son just died.
Yeah.
So I immediately went back to California to my roots. And I think the first song I came up with was Looking for the Answer. It was on my first album.
Hmm.
So then that's what started me really going down the path of trying to finish my record. Now, before that record came out, though, me and Diz had a record came out called 1990 Player Hate, like
Hmm.
98. And that's where that song Liquor on the Curb came out. It was really popular in California on the underground scene. And it made its way out here to Texas. And I'm in Texas. And I'm like,
Yeah.
yo, there's a lot of people that didn't know that's me on the record because I sound younger and I
Right.
sound right.
So
So
it
that
made it to
that ended up
Texas a
on
little bit afterwards.
that ended up on the Baby Luke and Lil Troy's record. So it was a trip because I'm in Austin at the time now. So shout out to my man Stan. You know what I mean? So it's like that happened. I started working on my solo album. Shout out to Rick Rock at Hitworks, two different Rick Rocks.
Mm.
Rick Rock at Hitworks. He used to let us come in there and record. He just saw something in us. And my man
Right.
Diz was a beast on the beats. Like he was a dope DJ, dope producer, and he could rap. You know what I mean?
Right.
So shout out to him. And he was another one that motivated me and inspired me. Another one is Raja. He motivated and inspired me. Seeing a lot of the groups at Hitworks, Faux Loco, Giitis, Rebel, Q. There's so many. Bugsy, Self Made, all those guys, man, from Sacramento, like, and just Marvelous, Homicide, um, Brother Lynch, Sibo, all these guys was like everybody was just out there rapping, just like they're doing in
Mm.
Austin right now. But the one thing about these cities, they really embrace their own music.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
I mean, that's one thing I don't really see here
Nah.
enough to where it's like, damn, it's like it's a weird, I don't know, it's kind of weird. They
Niggas
do
is
it,
just haters. Niggas hate here for no reason.
I think it's
Come
just
on,
more
you
than I think it's more than hating too. I think it's some people became DJs that didn't realize their responsibility of being the DJ.
with to break the records.
Like you can't be too clicked up with this group over here because then you don't want to play so and so's record. It's
Right.
like, nah,
Yeah.
man, play his record too. What if he blows up and he's gonna have
Yeah. Put
I don't know.
everybody
It's weird.
on.
So that's
Nah.
still an argument going on today. Um, but shout out by the way, because I've had a couple gigs recently, and I've been playing local artists in all my sets. But I'm just gonna lead by example. So I'm
Yeah.
always do that. Anyway, um, so recording the album, trying to get it done. 1990 Player Hate comes out. Then comes mine, and the first underground tape I put out was called "What the Fuck I Tell You."
Mm.
And so that started to buzz in Austin. I wasn't rapping like nobody here.
Right.
And now it was finally I wasn't the dude now. And so now even my old crew was like, oh man, Smack done fucking came out. So they were mad. Them niggas was mad at me because
But,
I finally just said, fuck it, I'm gonna do it, right? And I
but
did it. And they were
why would they be mad though?
because it's that thing of like, it took years later to figure it out, but now I'm a pretty good expert on it. A lot of
Mm,
cats in the game will self-sabotage themselves because they're scared of success.
you're right.
And they'll bring you down that road too. Like, no, we can go to the studio tomorrow. And you're like, no,
Yeah,
let's go
yeah,
now.
yeah,
No, man, oh man, we got time, man. Come on. And at the time you're thinking, okay, this is my boy, man. Yeah, we'll just kick it. Yeah. And then you get caught up in that, not really realizing, like, man, every time we try to do this, there's always some weird
yeah,
excuse. My girl coming. I gotta do this. And it becomes like, dude, I mean, we're just going to go record. We hang
yeah.
out for hours. We can't go do a 2 hour fucking session. You start to realize people will self-sabotage themselves in this game.
Mm,
Everybody wants to kind of be out there and be that because it's cool, it's all these things, but do you actually have the passion, the perseverance of what it really takes? That's
right.
why I'm telling you the long story to show you the perseverance of it all that brings it to the moment. I mean,
Now, I don't, tell your story how you want to tell it, but I just want you to keep in mind, I do want to talk a little bit about conspiracies too.
let's do it. We'll do it. We'll do it.
Uh,
Ain't no rush, man. Ain't no rush. I'm here. Where was I at?
you just dropped your record. Your homies were
I dropped
mad.
my underground record. It's doing good.
Mm,
Then I start doing shows around Austin. And you could probably, if you ever get T Double on, you could probably ask when probably T Double first saw me. I remember T Double was like, "Yo, you're bringing a different element to the show. Like you're actually putting on a show."
yeah,
And I think people were putting on shows. 'Cause I remember shout out to Miss Dank. I remember seeing a South by Southwest footage tape before when I was in Sacramento, looking back to Austin when South by Southwest was jumping. They were talking about Miss Dank.
yeah,
So shout out to Miss Dank, Overlord, Teddy Lee. I was hearing those names when I was in California.
and they from Austin.
Yeah. And
All
so
right.
I saw a videotape of Miss Dank and she had like a whole domino thing on the stage. And I was like, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. She's on to the whole presentation aspect.
Yeah.
So then when I came at that time and started doing shows, now I would use I still didn't have turntables and nothing, but I would chop my songs up
Mm,
as if a DJ was dropping them a
yeah.
certain way.
Right.
And then so like if the show promoter was like, "All right, man, you got 8 minutes." Instead of me going up there doing one or two songs like most artists would
You
do,
just cut that
I
shit
took
and
that
do
8 minutes and took
snippets.
all my music and chopped it up into like a
Yeah.
mix that lasted
I
for
used to
eight
do that
minutes.
shit too.
And so when I would do that, people weren't really doing that.
Hmm.
It was like me doing a medley of songs. And
Right.
and one like, oh, here's this guy named Smackle. He's coming out. The intro would be always hard. My intros were always just like, okay, who the fuck is this? Like he's about to,
Yeah.
this shit sound like he better come out here and do something. And then when I would start spitting, that's when they go, yo, this nigga ain't from here.
Yeah.
I know that's the first thing they thought, like, okay, this nigga's not from here. This nigga is spitting though. This nigga look like he would jump off this stage right now and go at like I'm bringing the whole everything to it, the whole
Yeah.
performance. Like when you would look
Hmm.
at me, you would probably think, oh man, I still hear people today. They'll even say, "Oh yeah, man, that guy Smack, he's an asshole." Or people say, "Oh man, he's funny," and I'll be like, "What do you mean?" They'll be like, "Because I seen this show." I'm like, "Oh, you're looking at me on stage."
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
there's a different person off the stage, but I get it, and that's cool because that's my whatever, my bravado or whatever they call that. Hope that's the right word. Hopefully, it don't mean nothing else. Anyway,
Bravado.
yeah, or my like. I can't think of the word I'm looking for. I smoked right before this smoke. I don't know. Anyway,
Hey, me
uh,
too.
so I brought that to the game in Austin. Then what I started doing is trying to bring some branding. But then before all that happened, I get signed to Roy Jones.
Yeah. Oh, and see that was the question I was gonna have.
Okay. So my friend Sarabian, so I record these songs from living room studio. Shout out to Scott Ross and all them living room studios. They used to let me come over there and record, and I would pay. And then at one point in time, I ran out of money.
Hmm.
but I was always about my word.
Right.
And so they would let me come in there and just record because I'd be like, look, some of these things I gotta lay down as soon as I can't like sit on it like that. They understood that
Mm,
because they were musician. They were magicians, musicians.
mm.
So they let me come in there and they just kind of racked up the bill. And I always kept telling them, say, man, I'm gonna get signed. I don't know. I guess I had to gift the gab. They believed me. They were like, and but in my head, I'm like, man, I hope I do. Something, hope somehow win the lottery or something. So I'm racking it up. Now I got like a full album.
Mm.
And they're just like, well, Smack, we gotta talk about this bill, man. Goddamn, it's getting kind of. I'm like, all right, I gotta go visit my mom out in Atlanta or in Alabama, and then I'll be back, and then I'll take care of the bill. So I figured once I go visit my mom, since I'm gonna be down there visiting her, I'm gonna just go work at like Denny's or something. Just be a
Yeah.
dishwasher and just stack the money up and bring it back
Mm.
and pay.
How,
Right?
how much? How
That
much
was
was the
my plan.
bill?
Oh, it was a lot.
Yeah.
It was like in the thousands. Like, you know what I'm
Oh
saying?
damn.
Yeah, it was a nice little used car. Like it was on some like $5,000 type shit. Like
Oh shit.
might even been more than that. Um so yeah, so I go so I said, but I need a copy of my music. And so they're like, you
This
know what I
nigga
mean? I'm
gonna
like,
run off.
I'm like, well,
Yeah.
but I told him my plan. I was being straight up. I said, listen, if I don't have a copy of it, I gotta be able. I said, I'm gonna keep it real with you. My plan is to play it for people to see if I can find a label, investor, whatever. So
Yeah.
they ended up doing it. They ended up letting me come in there and record one tape, and from that one tape, I took that tape home and made duplicates,
Yeah.
like crazy duplicates, and sent it out to all my friends that I've known since since ever.
Hmm.
And just said, hey, play this for somebody. I was sending it to this label, whatever, just a little gray tape with the sticker on it. It said, and I called it Smack Leg. I called it Smackola's bootleg demo tapes
Yeah.
because a lot of it wasn't mixed all the way properly, but it was
Mm.
still banging because at the studio I was at, they were good to where even just the regular mix was like, yo,
Right. It sounded like it was
for,
mixed and
for rappers
mastered.
on the street, they were like, yo, this shit sounds like this is next level. This ain't down at so and so. It was like a step up, you know what I mean, from what I
Yeah.
was doing. So from there, they gave me a copy. I sent it all out to all my friends, and my friend Sarabian, rest in peace. Sarabian grew up with Roy Jones. He lived like
Mm.
down the street.
Hmm.
And so she calls me, she goes, yo, Smack, you gotta take down this number. Roy Jones wants you to call him. I'm like, and I'm in Alabama at the time. I'm like, what do you mean, Roy Jones? I'm like, Roy Jones, the boxer? She's
Yeah.
like, yeah. And me and my mom were just getting ready to watch the fight, the
Oh
Roy Jones
shit.
fight. Yeah. And I'm like, wait a minute. I'm about to watch Roy Jones fight right now. So I'm thinking she's kind of like, I'm like, what are you talking about? You know what I mean? Got a picture of the situation.
Yeah.
Because I'm in Alabama. We're about to watch the Roy Jones fight. She's calling me at my mom's house. This is before cell phones. This is before we had any of that. We just had
Yeah.
pagers and
Straight
yeah, right.
landline.
So she's like, yeah, take this number down. He wants you to call him. Da 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 da. So she's running down the story. She goes, yeah, he was out here in Houston because she was living in Houston.
Mm.
She was like, yeah, I grew up with him. He lived down the street. Da, da, da. She goes, anyway, he was out here visiting some people and he called us all up. We all hung out. And then he asked me to take him to the airport. Take him to the airport. I'm playing your tape.
Yeah.
Not really even thinking about, oh, hey, this is my homeboy. She says,
Yeah.
she's
It's
just
just
playing it.
playing.
She's just
Yeah.
playing it. Because she said, because I didn't believe her at the time, but she said, oh man, I got your tape. I be jamming that motherfucker. People say that shit and you be like, man.
Yeah.
So she really was. So she didn't think nothing of it. So she said she had got a call from him earlier that day before he was starting to fight. He was like, hey, I went into the record store. What's the name of that guy? What's the name of that guy you were playing? I'm trying to find that record in here. What's the one that song? She goes, what are you talking about? He goes, yeah, you were playing it. And she was like, oh no, that's my friend Smack. Like, he doesn't have a record out like that. He's that's just a record he sent me, and I was just jamming. I
Yeah.
totally didn't think nothing about it. She goes, yeah, it's not out yet. He goes, oh, it's not. He goes, well, hey, I'm starting a record label.
Damn.
Give him my number, and I want to see if he wanna, maybe come get down with us. I got a couple other guys, whatever. So woo woo woo. She tells me that. I call my friends, yo, call this number. I call it. I'm like, that's Roy Jones on the voicemail, but I might be
Yeah.
tripping. So I'm having that trip moment, passing the number to some of my friends. Hey, *69 is block your number. And but listen if this is him. So they're all calling me, man, that's him, that's him. And you know what was so funny? So I well, I'm jumping too far. Okay. So he ends up calling me that night. I call and I just leave a message. Hey, yes, Raven wanted me to call you. Just, I'm trying to sound all cool and shit.
Yeah.
And so like about 4 o'clock in the morning, he calls back after his fight.
Damn.
Right? And he's like, yo, da da da. I'm located in Pensacola. We'll fly you out down here. I'm like, Pensacola. I'm like, that's like 2 hours or something from here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I'm in Montgomery, Alabama. It's like 3 hours. But when you cross over this certain point, the time shifts
Yeah,
or whatever.
time change.
So anyway, my guy Damage from Underrated, he takes me down there to Bodyhead to Roy Jones's to the studio. That's where I
Hmm.
meet my man Tim Fingers. And Tim Fingers was there too, because I guess he found him and you need to have him on too. He's a dope ass producer. And
Where you from?
from Pensacola.
Okay.
Um and so we're in there, man. We waited all day. I think me and Tim was there. We were there from like 9 in the morning because Roy said be there at 9 in the morning. So I'm all doing the whole like, man, we're gonna be there at 9 in the morning. 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 12, noon, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock. We're still sitting in the little lobby thing, just waiting and waiting. So around
Damn.
7 o'clock, my friend Damage is like, man, fuck this shit, man. Roy bullshit. I'm like, nah, man, we're gonna wait. He told us to be here for a reason. I
Yeah.
don't think he's the type of guy to just bullshit. He might be just caught up doing some shit. Like, no, man, what do you got to do? You don't know. I said, well, dude, he's on the verge of becoming a big time superstar. So I could
Hmm.
now me being around entertainment business, I kind of knew like, man, you don't know what he's probably like. He's a boxer that's known right now. Like he was
Yeah.
already on HBO at this time. He didn't become the Roy big, but he was already big. You know what I mean?
Right.
Um, So he's doing the whole trying to talk me out of like, man, let's just come back tomorrow. Even the staff people there like, y'all just want to come back tomorrow, maybe. Me and Tim are like, nope, we waiting right here. Fuck this.
Yeah.
This is like a one chance moment. I'm not gonna fuck it up. I ain't got shit else to
Yeah.
do. That's the only reason I came here. So
Right.
if it takes me sitting here 2 days, I'll do that. Fuck it. You know what I mean? Now if I'm wasting my time, tell me I'm wasting my time.
Right.
But they said no. If Roy told you to be here, then you should be. 1 o'clock in the morning.
God dang.
We see these little pit bull puppies come running in the studio, and then Roy walks in. And the first thing I thought was, he's not as big as I thought he was.
Right.
That's the first thing I thought. I don't know. I was just kind of like, hmm, interesting. Like, you know what I mean? Because of course, when you look at TV, right? I'm like,
Yeah,
he's
nigga.
he's kind of my size, just like a little,
Hmm.
like you know what I mean? I'm like, okay, cool. So he comes in, man. Sorry, I kept y'all waiting. Da, da, da. I had to fly in Atlanta. And when he starts breaking down what he was doing, you start to really realize again, like, nigga, this is
Yeah.
Roy Jones Jr.
Yeah,
This
this
ain't
nigga's
no
on. Yeah.
this ain't Tyrone down the block, nigga. This is like
Yeah.
this motherfucker just did Good Morning America and blah blah blah, and then flew back here.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? So, but he sat up there, dude, and he listened to every single song I had. Cause he just said, bring your music, bring it. So I brought the copy I had. Cause she was just playing him a copy.
Hmm.
So he's going off of what he heard. Now I'm down there playing, and he listened to the whole, and it had to be like a 2 hour session because I had that much music.
Right.
Um, and so he said, "Yeah, man, I'm starting this label, Body Head. Da, da, da. I'd like you to be a part of it. I'd like you to be my first artist, but first, I want to see you perform live." I said, "Well, just so happens March is coming. I'm gonna be in South by Southwest, and that was like a month away.
Hmm.
Come back." He's talking about, he's telling me, so what's it gonna take to bring you here? But I kept telling him, I really don't want to leave Texas though. I said it's the capital of Texas,
Yeah.
so there's good real estate there. I said
Hmm.
I can go be in California. He was like, "Why not New York?" I'm like, "Cause then I'll just be another rapper from New York. Why not LA?
Right.
I'll just be another rapper from LA." But if I'm here in Texas, where I've really, and plus, my son was buried near here in
Mm.
Newland, Texas, so I wanted to stay. I just felt like this was the moment where it was happening, so I wanted to keep that synergy. but I can just come out and do whatever it is y'all are doing and go back. We
Right.
can do that, right? Cornerstone in it. That's what I was doing.
Yeah.
Cornerstone. So he comes out to South by Southwest. I think this was 99. Now the funny thing is, of course, I told my friends that night, like, yo, Roy wants to sign me, da da da, before internet. The next morning I wake up, yo, everybody know about it. And then by 6 o'clock that night, people were calling me with all the bullshit. Oh, you probably gonna leave us now, huh? Like,
The
I'm like,
hate talk,
yo,
man.
oh man, it was crazy. It was like, huh? I was like, nah, this has been the plan all along, right? Like we trying to get
Right.
on. Like, what are y'all talking about? So anyway, a lot of that was going on. But then there was a lot of like, so when Roy now finally comes to Austin, this is at the old airport we're picking him up at.
Mhm.
That was down, what was that, on 51st Street, somewhere over there?
Oh, wow, I don't
Robert
know.
Mueller, whatever. Yeah, yeah. It was the old airport, not the Austin Burston. Anyway, so we're down there. He comes. We go to this other studio called Audio Arts because I had records in there too, but I didn't
Mhm.
get none of those records. I just got the living room records, my records from there. So part of us going there was to record a little something, and he was going to pay the bill
Oh shit.
of all these places I owed.
Yeah.
That's what he came. He said, "All right, who do you owe money to? Like, we're gonna go and just, you know what I mean?"
Yeah.
So we went, we did that. So it was funny. So for the next one with Scott and him, I wanted to play a little game with them. I was like, because I knew they were Roy Jones fans, and it was just weird. I hadn't had a chance to really talk to him. I kind of decided to wait and just let it. Oh man, Roy's gonna be here. Let me figure out how to do this. So
Yeah.
I remember going in there, and we went over to the living room to take care of that big ass bill. And I walked in, and they were like, "Hey, Smack, where you been?" And I was just talking to him like, "Yeah, what's up?" And I was waiting for them to bring it up. You know what I mean? Like, so yeah, you think you can take care of a little bit of this bill, or what? I said, "Oh," I just went like, "Oh, Roy didn't come and pay for it." They were like, "Huh?" I was like, "Yeah, Roy. Roy said he was." Oh man, I was like, and I was putting the extra on it to make it seem like I
Yeah.
was lying. You know how when a nigga sound like he lying? I was
Right,
acting just like
right.
a nigga that was lying, but putting the extra on, like, what? Oh man, I
Yeah.
can't believe Roy would do me like that. He said he was gonna come pay it, and they're like, well, I mean, come on, man. I'm like, but Roy, man, come on. They're like, who's Roy? I'm like, Roy Jones, the boxer. And they're like, I seen him do just like this.
Yeah.
I see the dude roll his eyes in front of me and just turn around and go, oh God. Because I know they heard this from so many
Right, yeah,
musicians
yeah.
that
So they're just like,
came
this
in
nigga
and
not
couldn't pay a
paying.
bill, or rappers that
Yeah.
ain't paid a bill. So they're just going, oh fuck, man, we thought you were gonna and then right then Roy walks in, and they were like, I was like, oh, here he is right here. And they're like, what the? And the dude stood up. He's like, what the fuck? Are you Roy Jones Jr.? He's like, yeah. He's like, oh shit, what the fuck is going on? They were tripping, dude. And that was
Yeah.
just a good feeling to me because they were
Oh
fans of me
yeah.
too. And so I set it up, and my girlfriend at the time, her dad and his dad, really the whole family, but them two were big Roy Jones fans. So me
Yeah.
bringing him home to dinner was some
Yeah.
shit, especially
Did
when they
he?
done heard all through the city, like, Smack's out here with Roy Jones.
Yeah.
They're calling me every 5 minutes. Hey, you still got Roy over there? I'm like, yeah. By the time I get over there, she's got all the cousins, everybody.
Yeah.
I'm like, don't tell nobody. Just keep it your dad. And by the time I get there, it's like 40, 50 people. But it was great. Roy
Roy
was
was cool
cool.
with it. He was cool
Oh
with it.
man, he's a total cool
Let, let
dude,
me let
man.
me let me ask you this, and this is a
Mhm.
honest question. Um, Signed to him, were you like, did he didn't like Diddy you or Birdman you? I guess
No.
like he was fair.
Like, yeah, no, he was fair. Let me
Yeah.
tell you, and I can only really tell you my experience, but I always told him what I was trying to do, what I want to do.
Right.
And I always told him my visions. Every time I had a chance to talk to him about music, that's what I would talk about. But then I would always switch up modes too, like, because then when he would have me around him a lot,
Yeah.
So now I knew it wasn't about Smackola no more. It was
Right.
about
Yeah.
Roy Jones. So I knew how to. I was trying to work it. I was still trying to be like, well, shit, I could be a security guard or something. Fuck whatever,
Mm-hmm.
right? And yeah. So like he just had a passion for it, but he was now becoming Roy Jones at the same
Right.
time.
Yeah.
He was with the level he was at, he was big, but he wasn't where it was about to be. It was on the verge of going there. So I got to
Right.
experience seeing that. So I got to be around him when it was big, but not like superstar fucking just
Mm,
insane type shit. You know what I
right.
mean? Um, so I'd be around and so he had good intentions to put out the record label and he put his homeboys in positions
Mm-hmm.
to run the label. I understood that. My only problem with it was, but they don't know shit about
Yeah, it's
moving a
homeboys.
record, or
Yeah.
they're not even musicians. They're just consumers of what they like.
Right.
They're I'm the only one really there that was moving tapes and doing underground shit and been a street teamer and doing, you know what I mean, doing those things. Even
Yeah.
when I was there, I had a website and everything already. Like they didn't even have nothing like that.
Yeah.
When they came when Roy had came to Living Room Studios, shout out to my guy Scott Ross. That's who was one of the engineers that worked there. Living Room Studios, the land or something got sold, so he was out of a
Mm.
job. So this all happened around the same time. So Scott was like, "Man, I'm losing my job." I said, so I jumped on the phone. I called Roy. I said, "Man, we need a dope engineer. You need to get." Da-da-da." So I was hooking up my guy.
Right. Right.
Boom. Roy gave him a job. Flew him out to Florida. That's where he lived. And then they started putting all the studio equipment in because they were like, "Man, what was that shit you were working with, Smack?" So I gave him a lot of things that they started upgrading and doing. And,
Mm-hmm.
you know, so I was the one also pushing, no, Wayfoul Music. That's the label. I'm gonna be on this label. And I would kind of be difficult about it, but people didn't understand it at the time. I'm like, well, you're signing Smack, but I'm already signed. I'm signed to Wayfoul Music.
Yeah.
And then so if something happened here, you know what I mean? I could walk away basically.
Right. Right.
Uh so when I got ready to put my first record out, Southwest Wholesale, this is my first nationwide release. I'm excited in the motherfucker, dog. I'm like, oh shit, it's about to happen. Everybody's like, oh damn, Smack's about to do it. He signed with Roy
Yeah.
Jones. They're seeing me walk out to the ring with him, the fighting shit, all this shit, right? So now my record's getting ready to come. I'm just like, fuck, man. Because there was so much pressure of just the anxiety of
Right.
just all these little things that were out of my control.
Right. Right.
So when the record got ready to drop, the same week my first nationwide album dropped, the distribution company Southwest Wholesale had went out of business and
What?
didn't tell anybody. Yeah, didn't tell anybody. So left a lot of artists records and shit in his warehouse. It took years to get it and all this shit, right?
Damn.
So that really was one of those things where I felt that shit fall on me so hard because I started immediately hearing from people like, "Oh, Smack fell off," or "Oh man, he flopped." Oh,
Yeah.
and what they didn't really understand is no, no, I didn't. But I tell you what, that'll never happen again to where somebody actually controls the release of how my
Right.
right, like it just put a damper on. But to be something that big, I mean, so I've been through that before.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, a lot of people don't even get to even smell that. You know what I'm saying?
But then I've
So
seen a lot of guys because of like the effect of my record not coming out. There was some guys at the label that it affected too because they needed that record to come out in order to see what I'm saying.
yeah.
Some of my friends and homies that gave me free verses and stuff, that was their opportunity too. So you know
Right.
what I mean. So it was like a domino effect at the same
Yeah.
time. I seen it discourage a lot of people like it did damaging effects. I seen the same
Hmm.
thing happen again. I stayed strong with it just because I understood it. So then that was my
Right.
first release. So I told Roy, I think the independent thing is the thing for me, and I see that's where it's going. It's really always been independent. I want to do that. He's like, all
Yeah.
right, just like that.
But
Because now
y'all
at this
still
time,
cool.
yeah, yeah. Because now at this time, Universal's hollering at him because they want him because he's becoming Roy Jones a superstar, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Super. He was already a superstar, but I mean, he's becoming the Roy Jones. Y'all, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
so, Universal's coming at him. And there's Linda was sending out new contracts. Da da da. I didn't want to sign that contract, and I was even telling some of the other artists, even though a lot of people thought I was hating at the time, but I wasn't. I was just saying, "Hey, man, don't sign that contract."
So you turned down the Universal contract.
Yeah. So I said, "Don't sign that contract because really they want Roy
Right.
and
Yeah.
you. Everything y'all wrote and everything that you're writing and everything I've wrote up until this point,
It's gonna be for him.
you're basically signing it over as collateral.
Yeah.
So now they gain all these songs.
Mm.
Roy's gonna get paid." But when they're done doing that, because he's really not a rap, it's not his passion to be a rapper. He just likes to do it.
Right.
But
Yeah.
it's not his like, I'm gonna drop everything and just become this.
Right.
He's a fucking boxing superstar. I said, but when they're done with that, you're done.
That. Yeah. That shit's gonna be theirs.
There's never gonna be where your record comes out. Because they're
Right.
really just trying to get him and you're the collateral. This is
Mm-hmm.
what you see artists doing today when you hear Lil Wayne sold so and so's masters. That's that kind of shit. That's that
Yeah.
collateral, right? So people, all the guys on the label thought I was crazy. Man, Smack you is man. Here goes Smack with that conspiracy shit. They doing all that. Turns out I was right, and they'll even tell you
Mm.
that to this day. They'll tell you like, man, you was trying to tell us. And
Now.
so anyway, um, let me jump forward a little bit. So anyway, when all that happened, my first actual independent release was called Black Zorro,
Mm.
and I had a song on there called Turn It Up. And that was playing on the Austin video station out here. Oh, what's the name of it? I can't remember. I can't believe it's slipping my mind. Austin Music Network. Shout out to Beto and them. And um, we put that together. Jerry Ochoa shot the video. We put that out, man, and they played it a lot on the Austin network. So a lot of people started hearing about me. They're like, "Oh, this is Mac dude," but I thought it was with Roy Jones. How come they didn't? This is before the internet. So they didn't understand. Like now, I decided I'm gonna go independent.
Yeah.
So then I come up with the Black Zorro just because I wanted to have something new out because I was starting to do the shows again. So then, at the same time, me and Crash are now like, because Crash was my DJ, but I didn't want it to be a situation of just us being DJs. So I was like, why don't we start a group and do this? Because I don't know. I don't know if it's because we're both light skinned niggas and we just complimenting each other or the name Smack and Crash, whatever. But people just liked our synergy. And when we were on stage, it was a true, he was actually being who I wanted to be.
Right.
And now I'm being the rap. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Like, but
Yeah.
he's able to fulfill that role now. Like he's doing
Right.
exactly
Right.
what I would do if
Mm-hmm.
I was doing it for a rapper. Like
Mm-hmm.
now he got that down. Like so he's dope and shit, and so he's a dope DJ. So it's I'm the DJ, he's the rapper. It's that kind of shit, right?
Yeah.
So we're doing the true essence of hip hop. You're watching this going, yo, it's a DJ and a rapper, but they be getting off with it. This is before a band. It's just me and Crash, the Dirty
Right.
Worms. So we are the Dirty Worms. Me and DJ Crash, we're the Dirty Worms. So now, around when we're around Body Head, they're like, "Oh, here come the Dirty Worms! Here come the Dirty Worms!" So all those turned into songs. Here come the Dirty Worms. All this stuff, right? And so we're both fans of Run DMC, Public Enemy, groups like that. So we kind of start molding it
Right.
towards this. Now, at the time, too, I was already walking around with a gas mask and a wig on. That was like my alter ego. And
Right.
we called it the Doc. And when I would be in the studio doing the little weird voices and shit on the record,
Yeah.
Crash would be like, put the Doc on it. Cause it just gave it this like, that's Um so then from there, I told Roy, I said, yeah, I want to start this rap rock group, da da da. And he's like, okay. Now I'm still waiting on a publishing check. So I get my first publishing check finally. It took like a whole year and something because the whole
Yeah.
distribution, right, dropped out or whatever. So now the sales, it just fucked up a lot of shit. So I finally get a check. I take my check. Shout out to AJ Vallejo. We went to Vallejo.
Was the check nice?
Huh?
Was it a
Yeah, it
nice
was nice.
check?
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
nice. But I didn't get to enjoy it because I spent the whole thing like I literally just got the check one day, the next day cashed it to somebody else.
Why?
Well, because I needed to record because now
Okay.
we're getting ready to do the Dirty Worms now.
And you're independent. Yeah. Okay. I got
Yeah, yeah. So now I'm independent. So now, in this process too, we go to MC Overlord's video shoot. Rest in
you.
peace to MC Overlord. And while we're over there, we meet AJ Vallejo.
Yeah.
AJ Vallejo's like, yeah, man, I seen you around. I saw that your album because everybody saw my album cover because it was everywhere. It had me with the two blades like this.
Right.
And so I was telling him, I said, yeah, but I got this idea of a rock band, but everybody I was trying to say it to, they don't get it or they're not licking it right.
Right.
He said, well, I got a studio, come over here. So we walk over next door. He lived right next door. And this fool had a full blown studio. He turned his garage into like a studio, right?
Right.
So we're like, oh shit. And they were dope. If y'all know Vallejo from Austin, like they are like a big time rock star dudes from
Mm.
out here, right?
Yeah.
They were signed to Gloria Estefan's her husband managed them,
Okay.
just to let you know how big they were, right? At the time. So I start humming the tune to him. He's immediately is playing it on the guitar, like I mean verbatim. Like it's like I'm like boom
Wow.
boom, boom, and he's like boom, 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 boom. I mean, it sounded just like it and everything. I'm like, that's it. So we put a little beat behind it, crashing there. Yeah, yeah. He's hitting on the table. They're matching the beat and all this shit. And the next thing you know, we're coming with like 3 or 4 songs real quick. So anyway, boom.
Damn.
We do that. We record it. AJ's like, oh man, we're on to something. So they decide to just record us, get it going. And then we took one of the songs up to the radio station, and that shit just took off on rock radio.
Yeah.
So
So you
now,
got
and I already
niggas
knew
on
the
the
edge we were
rock
gonna have.
radio.
So I'm telling AJ and I'm like, don't even tell him we're black.
Right. Yeah.
Just take it up, take it up there and play it. But I mean, they people knew, but people didn't really know. Like the
right.
people that probably the majority just heard it went, oh, who's this? Dirty Worms. Oh, that must be some new fucking rock,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
Um, so when it came time to make the album, of course, we didn't have no money. We needed a producer that understood rock and hip hop.
Hmm.
And even now, this is Vallejo even saying like we could do it, and they took it to a certain level too. But they were like, man, y'all need somebody that can really blend these two sounds really together. So then we found Dwight Baker. Dwight Baker had worked with Red Hot Chili Peppers, Ice Cube, Beyonce,
Yeah.
all of them. He lived here in Austin. White dude. He understood hip hop. So we went over there. Boom, we started recording. This is how much it's gonna cost. So AJ calls me. He's like, man, Dwight said he'll record it, man, but he's pricey. It costs this much. And I was like, dude, I literally, as he's talking to me, I literally went down to the apartment mailbox, pull out a check as he's telling me how much it's gonna cost, not knowing this is a check I'm getting. And I
Yeah.
say, wow, what did you say it cost? Because I'm literally holding that price in my hand.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, I was getting ready to buy a car because I didn't have a car at the time.
Right.
Damn, I didn't know it was gonna be that much. I thought I was gonna have enough to buy a car. And so then I'm sitting there
Yeah.
going, and without hesitation, I said, I got it. Call him and tell him I got it. And everybody thought I was all my friends, everybody said, man, you're crazy. Right? They're like, man, you should take some of that and do. I'm like, no, I'm finna do it. I'm finna put it down.
yeah.
Them still not understanding. My son died, dude. I was bullshitting.
Right.
I can't put the blame on all those guys. Like I was with them. I was bullshitting
Right.
too. So for me, it was like there was no hesitation. It was like I'm finna put it down on this because I know this is gonna be great. I already knew it was gonna be great.
Hmm.
So then Roy calls me back and says, hey, did you get that car? He's just conversating with me. Nope. What'd you do? Man, it cost this much for me to do it. So he's like, you spent it? I was like, yeah. He's like, oh, okay. Next day, he sent double. He matched me. And
Okay.
he said, go put this on it. And good luck. Boom.
Damn.
So that's what I did. Then we were able to get the Dirty Worms going. AJ and them helped us find some guys that were all dope, bass player, drummer, da 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 da. We did all that. Then
Yeah.
came the first shows, and I think we were at the same time a breath of fresh air because we weren't most of the hip hop that was live. I think in downtown Austin was it was still feel good music.
Right. Right.
We
Yeah,
came with that,
yeah.
"I'll beat your motherfucking ass," like, right? But no, I wouldn't even say it was that. It was our music was very it had a groove to it
uh,
because it's really all based off electro funk
right.
with
Okay.
guitars, with a hard metal rock guitar. That's
Yeah,
really what it
okay.
is. It's breakdance. It's all those old breakdance records.
Mhm.
Electric Kingdom, boom, 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 boom,
Wow, that's
boom,
interesting.
boom, 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 and now with a guitar, dum-dum, dum-dum, dum, dum, dum.
Yeah,
That's really what it
okay.
is.
That's
So that's why when you
impressive.
see me on stage and I'm popping, is because I'm hearing the
Yeah.
electro funk to it. So
And we
again, I'm bringing the element of me into it,
right.
and I would always say in the studio, I can't pop to that. And so sometimes they go, "Nah, man, this one's good. It has a good groove." 'Cause they're used to that Austin groove, like, "Ba-doom, and I'm like, no, 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 no.
Yeah.
It's got to be aggressive, and I got to be able to. I got to be able to pop to it. If I can,
Mhm.
I can perform it the way. So anyway, that's really the foundation of the Dirty Worms, the hip hop part, but that secret element that everybody goes, but man, it sounds like it sounds like Linkin Park, but it's like, yeah, because it's that true hip hop
Right.
feel and beat behind it. And what you're hearing is the electric guitar be the bass line
Mhm.
of what you like. Now you could insert even too short,
Right, yeah.
but now take that bass line and turn it to a rock guitar. Boom, dum, dum, da, dum, dum, dum. See what I'm saying? It just
Mhm.
changed the whole feel of it though. So the people that are in the rock music, they're hearing that rock guitar going, man, them licks
Right,
are
yeah.
fucking. So then you mix Crash DJing on top of it, his cuts and scratches, the way the drummer is playing, the other lead guitar, the bass. We got this mascot. Now my homeboy takes the outfit that I used to dress up in, he puts it on. I say, okay, you come out as this, like the mad scientist, like this, the dirty worms.
Yeah.
The dirty worms is now dirty south, underground like worms, but
Right.
it's a information virus.
Yeah.
It's a and then it had a whole backstory to it. The government created a biological sound weapon to give to
Mm.
their soldiers. They would hear this and it would just make them go fucking ape shit and kill. So
Yeah.
I'm thinking comic books and shit.
Right.
Now I'm thinking movies. I'm thinking, okay, it has to have a backstory just for people to go, what is this about? I wanted to have all these multiple layers where you're like, so I'm thinking branding. I'm thinking like way beyond just like it took so long to get to the music here that all these other stuff, these other ideas I had were still coming too. It was like, oh, and if I, so once I started seeing them come together, I was able now to start putting other things in there
Yeah.
and building it, building different characters. It was like, I want us to be the X-Men. We're like the new Black Panthers, but
Yeah.
we're the so it looks military. See how I look? It's like a
Yeah. That's
special military, like or I wanted to be that. You know what I mean? When you saw the symbol or whatever, you knew like, man, they ain't fucking around.
that
Like,
yeah, that's
and
that's
so us putting the logo really big on stage and having it everywhere, and everybody be like, man, you just want your shit everywhere. I'm like, no, dude, I'm psychologically setting y'all up.
right.
So now I'm still bringing the battle element to the stage of when I was a kid, seeing them battle. Right? I wanted it to where when you walk up to the venue, you look on the outside of the venue, you see that big ass dirty worm bat light shining on the whole fucking building. Like,
Right.
one, where the fuck is that coming from? Two, that's fucking dope. Like whether you hate on us or what
Right,
even if you
yeah.
didn't know us, you would I know as a consumer, you would have to go, that's fucking dope.
Yeah,
This
that
is a
is.
local group. This is a local group. Yeah. Okay. Then you walk up to the door. They got not just posters. We had big banner size posters of each character. So now
Yeah.
you're having to walk between this. Like the whole thing was a show. Then once you got in the door, the wristbands had our logo on it with the fucking you walk through there, you get to the merch booth. The merch was always big and it kept growing over the years. It would just be like, oh, they got sweatshirts, hoodies, but they always had the finest merch girls working too.
Right.
They had the chicks, they're working it. Then they always had like some dirty worm drink special. It was just dirty worm, just overkill, just so much. So now, if you were someone that didn't know, you would walk in there and be like, okay, I need to see who the fuck these motherfuckers are.
Right, yeah.
They better, man, they better be good. And then you would have the ones that already knew going, I'm telling you, man, This is the shit right here. And so then when our shit would drop, because everybody was so good at what they do, everybody was pro. Every single member in our group was a fucking pro. So it sounded like I can't even explain it, but even I would trip out. I'd be like, "Ooh!" I'd be
Yeah.
backstage going, "I'm finna fucking snap," you know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
it was just so it was on 10, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so yeah, that's what we're known for. And we would all get down and the rehearsals and the way we chopped our shows up, all that,
Yeah.
all those elements came together to create what it was. It was a psychological thing. It was this anti-government conspiracy things that we were talking about. That if you go listen to those albums now, that's what's going on now.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
And that's where and wearing the face mask and all that. And we're always taught we were always screaming the year 2025 in our records. You always hear us saying that the year is 2025, and all the things we're talking about in it back in 2003 is going
Mm,
on right now.
right. Damn.
And
That's
that's why a lot of
yeah.
people said, "Yo, you were before your time with this. Like this was like a," and that's why I say we're right on time now.
Right. Right. Right.
I think the biggest thing about the Dirty Worms is going to be our exit more than when we arrived.
Mm,
And what I mean by exit, I mean eventually things come to an end. But when we first started off, we were like we were a 9 piece. Then it was seven,
yeah.
five. Now we're three. DWZ 2025. Smack. They call me Zorro, Black Zorro. So the Z, Swift, the W, the D, DJ Crash. So when I
Mm,
look at all these things, and you know the band will be like, no, we got to go get more guitar. But I said, no, no, no. We've already graduated all that.
mm,
It's now coming back to its essence. The DJ, the rapper, drummer.
yeah. Gotcha.
Dirty Worms, DWZ. So it's not just a band, it's a brand.
Yeah.
so like
Damn.
that's I try to give you the short version. That's a short version. But that's what it is. And we just like to do shows, entertain, and like I said, it's clothing, it's all these
No,
things.
and that's that story is very impressive because and I say that to say this. It's impressive because you went from like it could have been it could have been a nice little movie. You know what I'm saying? Maybe not a Lionsgate, maybe
Oh
like
shit, I gotta
a
move. Oh, wait. This is why these are hard. See, I gotta apologize. What I should have did with you before we did this interview, since you were so new to it, is I should have brought you over and showed you a lot of things so that you would actually have a lot to really ask. We have a movie.
right.
We just never released it. We have an actual movie. It's called Wormhead,
Mm,
and it's a sci-fi slasher movie based on the story of the Dirty Worms. I'll show it to you. I've showed it to a couple people. They've seen it. I
wow.
just never released it because during South by we had a release party for it.
Mm,
This was 2010, I think. Movie people came to see it. They liked it because I was in a movie called Pineapple. So I played a
mm,
drug dealer called Blocko in the movie Pineapple. That got me my bug of trying to do a movie. I'm like, I was past videos. I'm like, I don't want to do a video. I want to shoot a movie. And I'm
yeah.
not just gonna shoot the typical, oh, they stole our drugs. We gotta go pay them niggas back. I didn't want to do that. I said, I'm gonna make it based on the Dirty Worms, but the same story I told you. The government created a biological sound weapon and they put it on flash drives.
Yeah.
You see, we sell that. In the movie, you see
Ah.
me put the flash drive in the laptop and I put on the headphones
Yeah.
and then the fucking sound hits me. We sell the
Mm,
headphones. See what I'm saying? I'm wearing a hoodie in it. We sell the hoodies. So
yeah.
everything you're seeing, if I was to show it to you, you would literally step back and be like, yo, like you incorporated even everything y'all have that y'all
Right.
do in it, but I made it more generic in the movie.
Mm, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Right? But still told the story. So now I got infected by this virus, this sound virus. I'm on my solo shit, but now I'm trying to start a band. I go to actually AJ Vallejo, he's in the movie. He plays the part that he played. Yeah, man, let's hear what you got. Okay. Yeah. Hit it like this. And we're doing the whole nine, like how it started. I get infected. I'm in the booth. Now, as I start to rap, since I'm infected with the sound virus, it goes into the fucking record.
Right.
We take the
Yeah.
record to the radio station.
They play it.
The radio station doesn't end up playing it though in the movie because we didn't reach
Mm.
this part yet. They didn't start playing it on the radio station, but the girl that's there, because we've always had, girls in our you see in our visuals, right? The girl that has
Mm-hmm.
the gas mask with the fucking that's a character in the Dirty Worms called
Uh.
Sweetie Cyanide, right? She's the receptionist. She goes, "Oh, they won't play your record." But in the movie, he tells me, he slides me a note like how much it costs to get the record. And I'm like, "Man, you need to play this record. I'm telling you, it's a hit. We're dropping
Yeah.
game in there too." And he's like, "You don't understand how this works. I don't care if it's a hit. We're gonna make it a hit, but it's gonna
Mm.
cost this much."
Right. Right.
See, that's really how it is in the industry. So I'm sitting
Right.
there frustrated. So now as I'm sitting there, you see me getting mad, and I'm on, and there, you just gotta see the movie. I have to show it to you.
Yeah.
So she basically takes the record. She gets infected, and other people get infected. And they're running around the city of Austin killing motherfuckers,
Mm.
like killing the radio programmer, the fucking. And then it brings it back to the beginning of the movie of Wormhead and what that actually means. Wormhead is what our fans call themselves. They're wormheads
Right.
or the
Wow.
Wormhead logo. So when
Yeah.
you see that, it's like, oh shit, man, this is the biological fucked up some shit going on right here.
Right.
And there was a curfew. This is years before the Purge movies.
Right. Right.
Yeah. So
Th-
I got the runaround in the industry because they started wanting me to change things in the movie industry. So people would see the film and say, "Yo, you shot this yourself? No crew, no nothing." I'm like, "Yep." And when you see it, it looks really good. It looks good
Yeah.
for like a independent film, right? And so they're like, "Okay, we're gonna work on getting you some money to reshoot this." So I'm geeking. I'm like, "Oh shit, this is gonna be dope." But then now I'm getting the runaround in the fucking movie industry, and eventually it just like time kept moving, and then I
Yeah.
just was like, "Oh man, I'll just release it in the future sometime."
Right.
What I'm gonna just do is go put a new ending on it to show
Yeah.
me now, and then do like a think back or something and make it.
Okay. I feel you.
You know what
I
I
feel
mean?
you.
So anyway, so yeah, so it's interesting you said that, but yeah, we have a movie. It's just
That's crazy.
you can
So
find the trailer actually on YouTube. The trailer is on YouTube.
what do you search?
Wormhead movie trailer probably.
All right, I'm gonna do
The
that
Dirty Worms
now.
Wormhead movie trailer.
I'm now this is crazy because I feel because before I talk to you, because I don't know, I have anxiety, so I'm always nervous before I talk to people. So I was extra nervous today just because I watch your shit and I kind of know how you are, you know. But I feel like I could talk to you for a very long time. But I'm gonna start to rap because I usually do an hour. You know what I'm saying? But
Mm.
I want to talk to you more because I had this. This is I want to get with this on
I'll
you.
come back
You
and do
know,
one of those. Yeah.
because I like oh my god. But since we're gonna skip that, do you have any last words? Tell the people where they can find you, your podcast, your music, and this niggas on title for my title subscribers. This niggas on title, Dirty Worms and Smackola.
You can find us at dirtyworms with a Z.net. That's where you can find us. On Facebook, Instagram, all that. You can find our music on Tidal or any streaming platforms. You can also find Smackola because there's I have Smackola records and there's Dirty Worm records. What else? Oh, you can find us on Black Tea Talk Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 10 a.m. on Facebook. Also, the Smacky the Clown Show Monday nights, 10 p.m. and WOTP Radio. I'll be starting that, and I'm gonna be doing some. I recently got back into where I'm just do DJing like little parties.
I've been seeing you doing the after hour spot.
Yeah, they're. I think that's what's gonna kind of work for me more because
Yeah,
I'm not really considering myself a DJ, but I'm DJing.
right.
Um,
You're
because I
you're
think
you're 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 a vibe setter.
Yeah, I think well, I'm still bringing to me it's like that part of me I'm not the DJ, but that is a part of me and it feels good because if it wasn't for quarantine, I never would have dipped back into it. Just
Right.
kind of going, let me go buy a controller and mess around like I used to. I see all these kids
Yeah.
with these new controllers now. I'm like, and I look at it because I know that technology is moving forward. I'm like, yo, that's kind of cool, man. I never did buy my Technique 1200s because once Crash stepped in the game, I was like,
Right.
I mean, that nigga's just cold, right? So it's
Yeah.
like I'm just like, you got it, fam. Just do it. But then I started getting the itch back, and then like I was telling you before with the Gangsta 2 Productions, like that's still on my bucket list for me and Jermaine, and we've talked about it a couple times. It's just a matter of finding the right song. I just don't want it
Right.
to be any song because we've made underground classics. So I want to
Right.
make sure that when I find that record, I want to get Jermaine on and put it out so that that's part of my bucket list. Like, man, we never put out a record,
Mhm.
but you
Mhm.
were the guy that gave me the confidence to actually rap,
Right. And
right?
sometimes
So then,
that's more.
yeah, because other people hear me rap and they was just like, eh. But he was
Yeah.
the first one to really be like, nah, dude, you spitting. So I
Yeah.
still want to do that. And then so this DJing thing became that too. It became like, oh man, cool. I came back to it. I say that
Mm.
only to say to people that are listening, look at things like that. Sometimes you leave this alone, it might still be a part of you, and you can always come back to it and finish up because that could be another chapter. That's
Right.
what I like about it the most because if I was to show you the pictures and show you my journey, you would see enough of it to go, yo, this is dope because
Right.
this isn't something you were really doing this. And now all these years later, here you come, you're bringing it back, but now I'm able to bring it back around even better than I could have did it back then
Yeah.
because now I'm bringing the whole presentation and the vibe to it and the whole branding element and everything. So it does a couple things. It sets the tone at some of these clubs and they're digging it. They're like, "Yo,
Mhm.
this is dope." So it's real cool, man. But the biggest thing I would tell most artists, you have to master the art of listening. This doesn't just
Mm.
go even for artists. This is for anybody trying to start a business. And if you're talking to somebody that has done it and you can see it for what it is, try that first. If they're genuinely telling you something, try it to the fullest. Don't cherry pick it. Really try it, but execute. But then also ask yourself, do you have the perseverance to do it? You know,
Right.
I've failed so many times, but I don't really consider them failures because I never sat on it long enough for it to feel like a failure.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? So, but I know
Yeah.
I failed doing things. I mean,
Right.
logically, but to me, I was learning. It was like, okay, that didn't work. This works. So now when I see somebody doing something, I'll tell them, hey man, do it like this. And they'll go, no, I think I could do it like this. I'm like, look, man, I'm trying to tell you, I've already done that 20 different
Right. Right.
times, 20 different ways. Here's the jewel. Boom. And they'll still cherry pick it. And I'll be like, and I look back at them, I go,
Yeah. After after
you're
after you give them after you try to give them the jewel, you just gotta kind of just watch them fall a
Yeah,
little
yeah,
bit.
no doubt. But that's one thing I see about us trying to create something that we really don't master, like
Right.
master the art of listening. Like,
Yeah.
don't do the opposite, do this because the person is probably telling you the move to make, and here you go doing the whole nother ball game. So if
Right.
that's what
Yeah.
you're gonna do, if you're gonna do a whole nother ball game, then go do that. Don't ask the person and then
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
go
And
do a
then
whole
yeah.
nother ball game because it's like, yo, why did you didn't
Yeah.
even try it first.
Uh,
So I would say that. Shout out to all the followers, the new followers, the old followers, the old and first timers, and the ones that'll never
yeah.
probably see us again. Whatever all the even the haters, man. We got to really give it up
Yes,
to them.
we need them.
They've been doing their job. The haters are the best promotion I think I've ever had. That's why we say fuck the dirty
Correct.
worms. You ain't shit. And we champion that with them.
Yeah.
Shout out to just everybody in Austin and around
Yeah.
that are inspired by anything that we've done, anything we brought to the game, and the ones that inspire others. Because truly, that's all I know I want to do, and I know my crew.
Right.
That's what we do. We really enjoy what we do. Shout out to DJ Crash. Shout out to Swift. Shout out to my whole Dirty Worm crew.
Yeah.
Wormware, just all the different off brands of Dirty Worms, Wormware, Black Tea Talk, Smackety Clown Show, da, 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 all these different things. Just everybody. Anybody's been rocking with us since for whenever. Even if you only
Yeah.
like one song, man, shout out to you for that.
Yeah.
And we'll be back soon. It looks like they're lifting the mask mandate, which I'm glad we could supply
Nigga.
a lot of you around the world with those masks. It's been great. We're still gonna sell them because we were selling them before this happened, and you
Right,
might need them
yeah.
again. So, yeah, man. I guess that's it, man. I don't really like to say nothing too PC. I like to keep it raw and real and
Nah,
something that
shit.
people can kind of use.
Well, for me, I want to thank you for coming on to the show, and I want to thank you for um just inspiring everybody. You know what I'm saying? Like I said,
Thank you for having me.
I've been
Thank you for having me, though.
podcasting. Yes, and I've been bugging the fuck out of you. So thank you
Yeah,
for
yeah,
finally
no,
making time for me, man.
it's all good,
And
man. Glad I could do
and
it.
I'm definitely gonna get you on here again. Make sure y'all check out Black Tea Talk tomorrow at 10 o'clock.
Yes,
You know
10
what
in
I'm
the
saying?
morning.
Yeah, so I'm excited for that, man. But I really appreciate you being on the show. But I like when you come on next time, I just have a bone to pick with you with this flat Earth shit. You know what I'm
Okay,
saying?
let's go. Let's
Because
go.
I don't believe it's flat. Because I'm like, how is the Earth flat? But every other planet is round. But I'm not gonna get into that right now.
We finna, yeah. Make sure,
I'm not
hey,
gonna get into it right now.
make sure you bring your books. I got a stack of mine right here.
Hey, everything you be talking about, I go back. I go
Okay,
back. You know what I'm saying? And some of the shit you say, like, kind of makes me believe it, but just the flat Earth shit, I'm not buying it. You
it's
know what
all
I'm
good.
saying?
It's all good.
But yo, thanks for being on my show, man. I'm gonna hit you because I want to check out that movie and everything.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'll bring you through next time. That way, you'll probably. There's so many things that you probably just have no idea. Like, but I do think for the people I've shared a lot of that stuff with over the years, it was more inspiring for them to really see, like,
Yeah,
okay, yeah, this is different. This is like, and I've been able to well document my journey too. So that's what made.
yeah,
There's even a documentary out there called The Epidemic, telling the story, some of the stuff I just told you, but with visuals and the pictures
right.
and everything. So, and other people telling the story. So,
Yeah,
yeah, just check it out, man. We're still here. We're still kicking. We some old dinosaurs, but
yeah,
we still here. And all you little youngsters, man, shout out to y'all that are out here doing your thing.
for real.
Trust me, when you come to that stage, fool, we come. We dog.
Oh yeah,
We're not holding back on that ass, nigga. We come. We still have that in us. We still have that passion too, but we have fun, man.
yeah.
It's a good time.
All right, Smack man.
All
It's
right,
good
man.
talking to you, brother.
I appreciate you.
All right,
All
man.
right.
See
All
ya.
right.
Thank you, people, for watching the show. It was good to have Smack on. I had a lot that I wanted to talk to him about conspiracy wise, but I'm happy he broke down the Here's to the Dirty Worms. I actually made some pork chops and mashed potatoes that I'm finna get into. So have a good show and watch my outro. Like and subscribe.